This is the Afro Perspective Podcast, the home of over-opinionated young voices.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Afro Perspective Podcast, episode 8. Today we are discussing, what's our hot topic today? Which one are we going first?
Yeah, but I'm easy, you know.
Election then.
Alright, let's go to the election.
Over to Tinashe.
Right, so the last time we spoke, obviously nobody was in power. Well, obviously Trump was in power, and it was a closer race.
He's still in power, by the way.
Yeah, I know he is until next year. Yeah. But Biden looks like he's done the thing, and it looks like he's going to be the new POTUS of the coming in 2021.
Do you think there's a chance of Trump
doing something,
changing,
pulling something,
pulling a rabbit out of the hat? And
I got somebody jumped in my inbox telling me that I sounded like a Trump fanatic, and I don't understand how they got that, because I quite clearly stated I don't like Trump and I don't like Biden either. You know what I want there? But what I was saying was that Trump surprised me the first time round, and he did really well again this time. If you think about all the stuff that come out of his mouth, he's done incredibly well.
That many votes is quite a shock.
It was a close race.
I think it's he's more of an influencer than Biden would be.
Easy.
Imagine having an influencer as a president.
As I was saying before, his advertising and marketing campaign was amazing.
And you can't take it for granted that there's people that love him. There's people that absolutely revere this guy. So you've got to give credit where
that's what I was getting at.
It wasn't necessarily that it's any better.
I'm not happy with the MAGA flag.
Okay, so all right. So now that Biden's the presidential elect.
I like Biden.
No, but which I've seen some opposing views, almost as if people are saying, Trump, they would have rather Trump stayed because Biden's worse.
So building on what we said last time, it's kind of the evil, versus the evil that's quiet.
Okay. Do you know what I'm trying to do? Let's have a discussion about. There's this notion that if, for example, you vote for the Conservatives or if you vote for the Republicans as a black,
it's disgusting.
You almost looked at it. You almost looked at it
ridiculous
as a traitor. Obviously, we've had this discussion before. The Democrats and the Labour Party in the USA and the UK have always kind of been seen as the party for.
For black and
that's the same over here. If you don't vote for Labour,
certain ethnic.
What?
So I think we're starting to kind of see
a trend.
We're starting to kind of see a trend of black people that are saying, what's the Democrats actually? What have they done for us?
Do you know what I think? It's a beautiful time to be alive in one sense, because although there's lots of crud out there, there is, but there's a lot of information out there now that people wouldn't necessarily have looked for or been privy to or even started. So if you think Facebook, for example, you'll get into a Facebook debate, and if you are an intellect of any sort and you get into a debate and you don't know the answer, you might go left and go do a Google search.
Let me come back.
Let me come back and see what I go on to help my argument.
My 2 cents.
That's why speaking is actually a very good thing. You're gonna go back, you're gonna look, and then you're gonna think, wait a minute. What are the Democratic Party doing for me? You know what I'm saying?
What have they actually done? Yeah.
It just would have been like word of mouth. People, as much as they thought they was into politics, they were literally getting force-fed from the TV and newspapers.
And I think, as well as narratives, I think people are informed by narratives.
Yeah, of course.
So it's just always been our culture to say we vote in blue. Do you know what I mean? We vote in Labour.
It's that deep that before I was able to vote, I believed that if you were black, me personally, I believed that that was the vote. It's obvious. Like, why would you not vote blue?
I think the blue side has always kind of had a way of appealing to the minorities as well,
because they technically appeal to the working class.
So they play, So they kind of
play on that.
Yeah, they play on that a lot. So there's the whole the blue side. This with this American election, they had Kamala. Is it Kamala Harris?
Harris.
Who's
female.
Yeah, there's a whole debate about who's,
Bro, I've seen people go.
who's claiming her she's
not
mixed
even
race.
black. Yeah.
She's half Indian. She's got Jamaican in her, and I think black people have this tendency of aligning themselves, sort of like identity politics.
Yes.
So because I identify with this person by the skin, by the color of my skin, I expect them to have my best interests at heart, regardless of the baggage, regardless of their history.
They'll not look into it as much as you'd expect them to.
People are inherently lazy. No, you got. When I say lazy, you got to think about it. So, you go to work. You got your kids, if you got kids or whatever. By the time late evening comes, you might not necessarily want to be researching how much and reading through this, that, and the third. Because these are the people that are voting, really, let's be honest. A lot of the people. So, when you see somebody that you identify with skin color-wise, subconsciously, not consciously, but subconsciously, you're thinking, oh, well, then our interests must be aligned because anything she does that's against black people is also going to affect her. But in fact, that's not a fact. That's not true. It's not true. It's not true. It's not been true in the history of mankind.
But I think it's almost like black people keep getting slapped in the face and just not waking up, because let's be realistic, right? Who was one of their biggest supporters? Obama.
Oh yeah.
And
the first time he was always going to win, because if you were black, there's no way you were voting any other way. Other than
and he wasn't a little bit of it.
And this guy got
4 years though.
right, and he was re-elected.
Yeah.
So this guy got 8 years and did absolutely nothing. Well, I'm not going to say absolutely nothing. But he didn't do. Yeah, but I'm being honest. Obama.
You don't think he did anything for the culture?
He didn't do anything notable for the black community. Let's be realistic. Obama did not do anything notable for the black community. Obama's strengths are actually in his foreign policy. He dropped the most bombs during his term. And Obama successfully managed to set up army bases all over Africa, US army bases.
Yeah, I saw that too.
So he's opening the door for neo-colonialism, and so let's be realistic about what Obama actually did. And one of his greatest, when Obama,
but he's the favorite president.
No, he's great. That's because of his face,
of black people.
His demeanor. Yeah, his demeanor.
Let's be honest, he did have a good.
He was literally like Denzel. Do you know what I mean?
Oh no,
and he was a good orator.
Do you know what? You smacked it. He's Denzel as a president.
But then when you check it, what is Obama's biggest achievement in office? He legalized gay marriage. What can you say he did for the
black people personally?
What can you say he did for the black community? So that was a very radical move, because let's not be naive to the fact that there's a good portion of America, even white Americans, that are very opposed to that.
Right.
Oh yeah,
especially your right wing.
You southern states and right wing,
your right wingers. They're very opposed to that. But Obama managed to, the Democratic Party. Yeah. Let's not just say Obama, because this is a thing. We get caught up in colours and faces.
But they're the puppets. There's people behind pulling the strings. It's not just.
Yeah, that's one thing we didn't get into the topics last week, was that obviously you have the president, but then you also have the what are they called?
Lobbyists.
The people behind the Senate. You have the Senate.
Okay, yeah.
And then you have houses or something like that. There's like 3. I'm like, how complicated is this to make a decision when you're the president of the United States?
It's not just you.
Yeah, which is why the numbers matter when you're looking at the election maps.
Yeah, they matter. Yeah, because you might win the presidential election, but you don't have enough seats on the Senate,
and that's why
you can't get things through.
Which is why you have to have a majority. Yeah,
that's why we didn't really get into last time, and that's important because if you are a Democrat and you're trying to get through certain policies, and the Senate is more Republican or even half Republican, you're going to have a very hard time pushing things through that they don't agree with.
But that's the problem with the Western political.
I'm shocked.
The framework is just messed up, because it just means the interest of the people are never going to be best served.
Never.
No.
And it could literally just be.
You're not getting to the people in the back.
Which is the everybody.
No, I think there's to me, one of the biggest problems with Western politics is political lobbying. I don't know if you know how that works.
Please elaborate.
Political lobbying is basically you've got corporations, right? So if you've got this big rich corporation, and they have any particular agendas that they want to lobby for example, if you are a pharmaceutical company, which you're making billions and trillions, you can align yourself with a particular political party.
Yes, to get your vaccine through.
To get your
Yeah.
right, you can align yourself to a particular political party, and basically, let's say when they're campaigning, you can fund these campaigns. You can fund these parties, but at the same time, these lobbyists are the same people that are influential in many of the policies that end up being passed or being. So if Labour is pro a particular policy or whatever, there's a likelihood that there might be a big lobbyist that's behind that particular policy, and that's why they will stay in that particular lane.
Yeah, I get you.
So it's almost like most of the decisions, most of the actions, most of the things that the government pushes or that these parties push, it's almost like people pulling the strings. So if I'm injecting millions into your party,
I want to say, do you?
so it's almost like a form of corruption.
Yeah.
You've got the big bucks. You can basically, so let's say, for example, a pharmaceutical company that's working on a vaccine. Are we gonna drop that?
You dropped it. You might as well run with it.
Yeah.
A particular.
Yeah, they have a lot to do.
A particular company.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. So they you can.
YouTube not good again.
Yeah. So in the background.
Yeah.
They have a lot more to do with some of the things that you might see going on in the media.
Yes, it's a fact.
Yes, because finance runs the world.
Yes.
I was watching something about this.
It's not as obvious over here though in England.
What do you mean?
In America,
Go on.
their TV is filled with pharmaceutical adverts.
Do you know what?
I have never experienced anything like it. Every
I'm
time
glad-
I go there, I'm
glad
like,
you mentioned it.
who advertises tablets so much? I don't get it. What? I can't exactly kind of go to the
I
shop.
was
and buy it without it being prescribed.
I was in first time I went to St. Vincent.
And there was American TV on.
Yeah.
It's
Yes,
the oddest
obviously, it's
thing.
the first time I'd seen American TV from American style.
Yeah.
They get some of their channels. And I couldn't, their breaks are every 15 or 20 minutes.
And it's always
And
tablets.
It's
Or some rub.
And this was back in 2001, maybe? 2001, 2? And then, every 15, 20 minutes they're talking about
And then
this
when
tablet.
you've told me that and I
Do you need a
thought,
pill that,
this makes sense.
to fall asleep? Do you need a pill to help you wake
but-
up? Do you need a pill for this?
a
You need a
pill for that.
No, but then when you think of it, it's,
But it's not the same over here.
No.
It's not that deep.
England is way more covert with their bullshit.
Well,
that's why.
okay, that's
no,
another
but this is the
podcast.
thing. It's like these guys are literally trapping in your eyes.
Oh yeah. The worst in your local drug dealer. Yeah.
They are literally trapping. So you think about
wants to
it.
get
I had
addicted
this
to this
argument
pill?
with a trapper.
Okay.
He was literally because he's relatively intelligent and he's a bit book smart.
Yeah.
And he was
Book smart
basically
trapper.
I ain't doing
Dangerous.
anything that these organizations are doing.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. No. And I didn't have an answer for him. I couldn't say nothing.
I mean, it's literally. I mean, all right. Then when you think about it, in hindsight now, the same people that send people to jail for selling weed
no.
are the same people that are
Capitalizing on it now.
the most of
And still not letting some of them people out.
and still not letting some
Can
of
you
them
imagine
people out.
you went in jail for a few pounds of weed and you're watching an agency move
Push that.
not even kilograms, tons of the stuff.
Yeah.
It's tons, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mad.
Growing tons and selling tons of it. So
Well, yeah, that's it.
Okay, so to wrap it up, it's a question. Do you think black people are forgetful? Or do you think black people do not hold the political parties that they vote for accountable for their lack of
The
action?
latter.
I don't think it's neither. I think it's neither.
No? Why not?
I think it's what you said initially. I think we see somebody that we feel like we can identify with, and we therefore and then
Run with it.
we run with that, regardless of watching what the results were for the last however many years. Biden is a clear example. I read somewhere that, and you know, if you're watching, please correct me if I'm wrong, but he's been in politics for 47 years.
47
Really?
years, yeah.
47.
You know what? My mom sent me a
47
video.
years.
My mom sent me a video clip of him in 1986, and
What did he say in 1986?
What was he
he
doing?
was
He's got a lot to say, trust me.
no, he was absolutely making up noise against apartheid.
Thank you.
Like he was hell bent against apartheid. He had this very passionate speech. So
When he was against apartheid, what was he saying?
he was basically calling out the it was calling out the government for not having a strong position against apartheid.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah, he was very anti-apartheid
Okay.
in that video.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, like literally, completely. It was very anti-apartheid. If you watch the video, it is very much. He's saying it like how we would say on Afro Perspective podcast.
Okay.
My example was
I need to
going
watch
to be there is a video of Joe Biden talking about what did we argue about? Segregation in America.
Yeah.
And he was basically saying he didn't want his kids to be mixing with these jungle guys.
What?
Yeah, this is live
what
footage.
is
But how long ago was this?
About 30. Well, it'd been in the 70s or whatever it was.
This is
Was
the
this
thing.
before?
Yeah.
This is the thing about politics, right? For example,
Swing.
look at the Republican black girl, Candice Owens. Right, the N whatever RA or whatever in America, they helped her family get some sort of settlement for some race issue.
Okay.
She was initially a Democrat on the blue
Democratic
side.
Party.
Yeah, what was Candice Owens screaming? She's pro-Trump now.
Yeah, definitely loud.
So I think there's the issue of when you attach with sometimes the face of politics, the faces of politics can swing
Yeah,
between, so they can be very
Well,
pro.
bruh, he sounded like a Republican.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he was anti-segregation.
Yeah.
Big time. I don't have any issues with him being anti-segregation.
And that's the
point
thing.
about it
That's
is-
the thing about career politics, isn't it? They can kind of sway and they can kind of.
Yeah, but here's my issue for this is the Afro Perspective podcast. So for all of the people listening, do you really think that he's changed his views over the last 20 or 30 years? And hear me out. Let me finish. When you get to a certain age, which for us is starting to be about now, yeah, but especially into your 40s, you start to get set in your ways.
Set anyway, yeah.
And you try to tell a 6-year-old some things that they don't agree with. And regardless of what evidence you put in front of them, they're not listening to you. So you trying to tell me this man has managed, because he's old, I don't know how old he is,
He's 70.
that he's changed his views
From then.
on black and other ethnic people in the last 20 or 30 years.
No, you can't cure that.
I know you can't cure it enough. That's what I'm trying to say. So when people are saying, well, you know, get this racist out of here, which is Donald Trump, cool.
We're just
But
moving
please
there.
understand that Biden is also at least equally racist because he's been spouting this stuff for a long time.
I've always said,
ignored it or forgotten.
you know,
Because we didn't know him. Like, you got to think about it. As a black person, I didn't pay any attention to Biden until right now. So
And a lot
I'm
of people would have
assuming
been in the same boat.
that's what I'm saying. So I'm not saying they are, but I'm assuming a lot of people were in the same boat.
Yeah.
So even if he was stood up next to Obama beforehand, I wasn't really paying him no mind. Now that he's up for a presidential election,
You gotta look
I'm
into
paying him
it.
some attention. But if you didn't hear him 30 or 40 years ago, you might not know what he said. But he's an old man. The guy doesn't look like he's going to last a full term. No, I'm not disrespectful. He looks like he's ready to go.
I'm like, why?
Okay, look.
No,
look
but don't
look what
forget. No,
presidential
don't
election
forget,
did to-
Anton. He was Obama's
Yeah, I know.
vice
Yeah, I know.
president.
I know.
So it's almost like Obama kind of ushered him into office in a sense,
Yeah, I see that.
which I think that is something that's
Obviously, I can kill him, bro.
I think that's something that's very premeditated.
Yeah.
Right.
So likewise
Oh,
with
yeah, that was
Kamala,
planned.
they
Yeah.
could probably be setting her up.
Yeah, but if not next time, then the time after that.
Okay.
Here's the thing,
she'll be ethnic and a woman.
Here's the thing, fam. My
And then they're
point-
gonna vote for him. Yeah?
here's the thing. I've always refused to vote. I have never voted in my life,
No.
Okay.
and I
Give the
believe.
reason why then, because you need to
Drop
say why.
that.
Okay, the reason why I've never voted.
Ignoramus. It's guys like you to let those parties in.
Yes. Let him
Okay,
Land.
Anton.
I'm playing. Go on, do your thing.
I believe.
I don't care that you don't vote.
I believe that people that vote shouldn't complain.
Complain about what?
Elaborate.
What do you mean?
Elaborate.
People that vote.
I'm gonna give you the opposite argument.
Okay, yeah. People that vote should not complain.
About what?
If you vote for, let's say,
Labour.
Obama,
Okay.
and Obama fucks up, what are you complaining about? You
This
co-signed it.
is the Afro Perspective
that's right. So I've
Podcast,
seen people-
the
so I've
home
seen the
of
narrative
over-opinionated
that
young
Let's
voices.
take it back to British politics.
Yeah.
Conservatives are currently in power, and it seems like they're doing the most.
Yeah.
They don't want to fear kids, apparently. Like, so, so people are now saying, well, the 13 million of you that voted for them, you need to shut them.
Yeah.
Head up,
Because you subscribe
because you subscribe to this.
subscribe to the idea that these guys are good enough to
hold on.
to lead our
Right,
country.
so I agree with you. The counter argument would be, and this is
Why
not coming from me,
Right.
this is just the counter argument, I can hear it already. It's going to be, if you didn't agree with the Conservatives' politics, you still helped them get into power by not voting.
No, I didn't. No,
Let
no.
me finish. But by not placing a Labour vote, you didn't help the Labour Party out, which therefore means you helped let the Conservatives.
Anton,
Regardless of whichever.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm saying what the
the
argument
Labour
would be.
Party lied to the nation to get us to go to Iraq,
I remember that.
right?
Oh, back.
So guess what?
Yeah, he's taking this little while back. I remember that still.
I don't believe in the Labour Party. I don't believe
You
in the
believe in a vote of
Conservative
no
Party.
confidence.
So
What did we say last
exactly.
week? What did we say last week?
I have no
Politics is
confidence in
broken.
these guys. So if I say
It would have been Liberal Democrats, but they messed up.
exactly, so if I say
Them.
It would have been them,
so if
but
I
they-
turn around and say I have no confidence in these guys, I refuse to take part in this flipping puppet show. Guess what? When they mess up, I have the right to say
I have no accountability.
I
I have no accountability. Because guess what, right? Just because
I'm not involved.
Guess what? Just because you voted for the Labour Party, even though the Conservatives are in power, it doesn't mean that some of the people that you voted for, who are in the Labour Party, are not actually sitting in Parliament.
Seats. Yeah, they still get seats. Yeah.
They get seats,
They get seats.
so they still have a level of influence.
Yeah, and they still have to go through Parliament.
exactly.
And if you've got enough seats, then you can still kind of like how the
And
Senate is
some
in
of these
America.
people, they don't necessarily, they're not necessarily opposed to the Conservatives, i.e. Labour. Sometimes these guys get on.
Well,
Well, we've already.
they got similar interests. Let's
Exactly,
keep
they
going.
have similar interests. So I refuse to subscribe to this two-party dictatorship. So I'm going
All
to
right.
take my votes, and I'm going to
So-
say none of them.
Can we draw a line under this then? Because we seem to get to the same conclusion each time. No, we do. So the line is, we don't like the two-party system.
Yeah,
It doesn't suit the Afro perspective scenario. It doesn't because
yes.
no, it really doesn't. And we think that politics is technically broken, and we would like to see an independent party come in and almost offer something different.
I keep saying
to
it.
support
Black people need to elevate
Put
a party
together.
that has their
Right.
interests.
Their own interests.
Democrats lie and say they have their interests at heart. Though.
Yeah, but how many? That's right. We've been getting beat by these Democrats, and they've been
Hundreds
letting
of
us
years
down
ago.
and doing 180s on us for the longest time.
Okay, let's stop for a second. And so let's go back to America. People like Charlemagne the God. Let's use an example. So he was very heavy on. What is it? It's still Democrat Party in America, isn't it? Yeah, the blue vote. The blue vote. And he was saying that if you didn't obviously vote blue, then you haven't got no sense if you were a black person, pretty much. So, are we saying those people are misguided?
I'm not saying. It's almost like survival politics. It's almost like, okay, this is what we've been given.
Oh, okay. So picking the lesser evil,
Yeah, it's like picking the
and
lesser
you refuse
evil.
basically.
I refuse
Yeah,
to.
yeah,
I refuse
okay.
to. Pick,
I can respect
I
that.
refuse
That
to
makes
pick the
sense.
lesser evil. I want some
A whole fresh face and a fresh outlook.
fresh
That's
face
for
and-
you.
That's for us. That's by us and for us.
Fubu it.
Fubu.
And the thing is,
The Fubu Party 2021, 2024 or something.
Imagine.
Yeah. Yo, the assassination on site. What do you mean?
I'm just like, who's gonna be that one?
Fubu Party 2024. Yeah.
But yeah,
I think. All right. So check this out. Let's wrap this segment up.
we've been
right?
wrapping it up
Yeah,
for 4 minutes now.
Yeah, it's right.
Okay.
So we was talking about Ice Cube meeting Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Right? Ice Cube met Donald Trump.
Yeah.
To
say, yo, what are you doing for my people?
Yeah, he was basically.
I've got this.
I think it was a $500 million dollar investment
because money changes your scenario, and Americans respect money.
And he got backlash for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But then when we look into the UK, Marcus Rashford met Boris Johnson.
Yes, he did. Because it makes sense.
But then, since almost like...
Did he get backlash for that?
It was the timing. I told you this last week. So Boris Johnson is not currently...
applauded for that. No, regardless of timing.
No.
Had Ice Cube met Trump at any time, people would still
Okay. Let's get into it. So anybody who's... No, he's right. He's right. I was going to argue with him until you just made it.
The point that I'm trying to make is, whether it's conservatives or Republicans, you can't stop that dialogue with whoever's in power because they
you want to do something now
culturally not for black people.
All right, hold on. So I was about to argue with you until you said anybody that met with Trump, because I remember people meeting with Trump earlier on and them getting a lot of flack for it. I think
Kanye, Lil Wayne.
Who else? Yeah, but Lil Wayne's not a good example. So, Lil Wayne is not a good example. This guy was like, racism in America, it doesn't exist. It does for poor people, but I'm not poor, I'm rich. So he's not a good example, but I'm sure there was somebody else that met him that I was like, oh, okay, this guy's a safe dude. And he got a lot of stick for it. I can't remember, I'll look into it afterwards. And that's technically no different from Rashford meeting with Boris Johnson at that point. Obviously the time is a bit of an issue because it's a bit sticky, but nevertheless, Rashford had to go to Boris. Who else was he going to? He's the president. Or he's prime minister, sorry. So he's like, well, who else is he going to go to?
Yeah, but this is the thing. Yeah,
Jeremy Corbyn? Like, yeah, Chucker? Like, where are you going to? Like, it's not the one. So, by the way, big up Rashford for all the things that he's trying to do. I respect it.
It's demonstrated that if
Rashford is the man.
If you grab these politicians by the balls, sometimes they will actually.
Rashford is the man right now because he's done something. He's lived it. Set an example to the point where other people feel shit. They might not even agree, but they have to jump on because because the movement's that strong.
Yeah,
I rate him so highly. Do you think, bro?
I think we're gonna have to have a discussion about the whole school dinners thing on another podcast. Yeah,
can do it second part if you want, bro.
I don't go into that.
Right, wrap that shit up then. Alright, cool. Yes. Well done.
This is the Afro Perspective Podcast, the home of over-opinionated young voices.